Hello, hello, and welcome to Spooky Time with me, your host, Dotes559. Before I tell the spooky story, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for further video notifications. So I got another creepy pasta for y'all today, and this one's especially spooky. So just beware when you hear the story. You might be spookied. Today's story is called Spittenz Day Out. So basically, the story starts with a young boy named Joel, who is 9 years old, and his next door neighbor is having a garage sale. So he goes to the garage and is looking around and notices a very old game cartridge from the past with Spitten's Day Out written on the top. He asked the owner what it was, and he said that the game belonged to his son who disappeared a long time ago. He just vanished into thin air. So I asked him if he could buy it, and he said he would sell it to me for 5 cents, which is basically nothing, which is good. So I took Spitten's Day Out home with me that night, and the first thing I did was dusted it off and then put it in the cartridge in the old gaming system and booted it up. And it indeed was a very old game. The graphics were very simple, like that of games from the late 80s and early 90s. And when it loaded, again, there was a simple character who was basically just a yellow ball with a face whose name was Spittenz. And he went on various adventures. And the first level had Spittenz going to the museum and causing hijinks in the museum, like messing with dinosaur bones and whatever. I played the game, Joel played the game until very late and decided to go to sleep. So the next day Joel went to school, and surprisingly the teachers announced to the class that day they would be going to the museum. Joel found this very surprising, as that's what he'd done the night before on Spitten's Day Out, but he decided not to say anything and had a fun day out at the museum. That night, when Joel got back to his house, he booted up the game again to play the second level. And the second level had Spittenz going to the library. And again, Spittenz would do all sorts of hijinxery and mess and like be too loud because you're supposed to be quiet in the library. So Joel played the game for a while, and then the next morning when he went to school, guess what? The teacher said, "Hey class, today we're gonna go to the library." So Joel's thinking, "Woo, this is spooky." Because like twice in a row, like the things that happened in the video game happened in real life, but Joel was like, "No, must just be a coincidence." So Joel had again a fun day out at the library and then went home that night, and he was actually kind of worried about what the third level would be, given that every other level had come to be. So Joel booted up the cartridge in the thing, and then the third and final level of the game was Spittenz and the atomic blast, and all the level was just an atomic explosion and Spittenz just screaming at the top of his lungs, being burnt alive by the radioactive wave and, fallout. So Joel panicked because he figured to himself, well, if the last 2 nights had come real, then maybe this atomic explosion would be real too. So he was very nervous when he went to sleep that night. And the next morning he got up and went to school. And the teacher was talking to the class, and then without warning there was rumbling and a bright light came from a window. Joel looked over and was horrified to see that there was indeed a giant mushroom cloud in the city that was slowly making its way towards Joel. And then just as it gets right up, there's like a close-up of his face, and just as the the shockwave gets right to him. He wakes up in bed because it's like a dream, like, you know, like it's not real, and he's like, whoa, and he's like, you know, he's relieved that it's just a dream, and he doesn't even remember if the game was a dream or not, but he figures he'll go over and open the windows to enjoy the new day sun, and guess what? He opens the window only to see a giant mushroom cloud heading towards him, and he's like, and like, you know, he gasps, and then it like fades to black. And then that's Joel's fate and the story of Spittenz Day Out. Cause like, you know, like, was it a dream, or like which one's the dream? Is it the second one or the first one? And like, isn't it weird that like the exact same thing happened in his supposed dream as real life? It's very spooky. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it very much. If you have any other creepypastas you'd like me to review, please let me know in the comments, and I will review them as quickly as possible. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you have a spooky night, and spooky later.